Okay.
So just let me know when you want me to turn my screen on and when I can start. So just give me a signal at some point.
Yeah, I will introduce you first, and then
Yes.
I will invite you to share your PPT.
Yeah.
Maybe I send a link to the WhatsApp group and remind the board members.
I mean, how many participants do we have already?
We don't know, but 50 registered.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor Xiong.
John, hello.
Hey. Hey,
Hey.
Thank you for the webinar speech.
Because I don't really have YouTube account, so maybe I click. You can also click that one, see whether it works. Oh, some participants there said they cannot hear anything. Okay. Because we haven't talked about anything.
Can everybody access the site? Have they been working? Yeah.
I think it's a better thing if someone watch on video for our live. So I think better to just join us in this.
That said already 58, so we better start.
Oh, there's 58, but I can't see them inside.
YouTube said a lot of people there.
Okay.
Oh,
So let's get started.
I guess they don't really have Zoom, so that's why they join YouTube. Okay, that's
Wonderful.
great. Okay, let's start it. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining this talk series of Asian Criminological Society. This is our second talk. This time, our major topic is about policing. So our first speaker is Professor John Scott from Queensland University of Technology. As you can see from the profile, he's a senior professor and head of the School of Social Justice at Queensland University of Technology. He is a special research area include ecology of crime, particularly in small places, social control, and the governance of sex and gender. And currently, he serves as the Fellow for Crime, Justice, and Social Democracy, and the Rotaries of Crime and Justice in Asia and the Global South. And he is also our vice president of the Asian Criminological Society. You can also find that Professor John Scott is very productive. He has authored It's very productive. He has authored 27 books.
Zaria, you're on.
Yeah, it's a little bit okay. Professor John Scott has authored 27 books and over 100 scholarly papers and chapters, as well as a lot of research projects, grants he has obtained. Okay, now it's time for Professor John Scott. His topic is policing in regional and remote places.
Thanks very much, Sarah.
You can share your PPT now.
Yes. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Is that working?
Yeah. Zaria, please report.
Thanks everybody for coming along. It's very good to be here after an aborted first attempt last year. So thanks for coming back. And as you can see, the title of my paper is Policing in Regional and Remote Places. Before I start, what we do here in Australia is that we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we work. And I'd just like to say that QUT and I acknowledge the Turrbal and Yuggera as the First Nations owners of the lands where QUT, my university, Queensland University of Technology, now stands, and pay respect to their elders, laws, customs and creation spirits. And we recognise that these lands have always been places of teaching and learning. And I'd also like to acknowledge the very important role of Aboriginal and Torres Strait people within the QUT, the Queensland University of Technology community. And it's probably a good way to start this paper because it's about place, and a lot of this paper is about place and about space. And in accordance with many papers, and I'd like to give a plug for my latest book, on which this paper draws a little bit of information. So there you can see title of my latest book, which was kindly awarded the Australian New Zealand Society of Criminology book prize last year, so which was great. Book a little bit, as you can see, Island Criminology, that I co-authored with Zoe Staines. So as we get started, I'd like you to think about where you are now. So are you in a city? Most criminologists work in cities. Most of the criminologists live in cities. So in the following paper, I want to attempt to highlight some of the learnings, from over 2 decades of examining policing in regional and remote areas. So where I've got RR on the slides, regional and remote areas. And I highlight a few common misconceptions and facts, and then ground these in recent empirical study. So I'm going to look at very quickly at the end of this paper, a couple of research projects I did some years ago that sort of grounds some of the ideas I'm talking about here. So it'll be a little bit theoretical, conceptual at first, and then I'll ground some of the ideas. So basically, policing, as we understand it, it's largely been researched in metropolitan areas. So most of the research, we can say the vast majority of the research has occurred in metropolitan areas. And you might say, well, that's because more people live in metropolitan areas or there's more crime in metropolitan areas. But I want to dispel a couple of those assumptions as we move through this paper. And so modern conceptions of crime are closely linked to the rise of cities and of course, processes of urbanisation. Population growth, population mobility has all been associated with understandings of crime and also social disorganisation. So rural areas, there tends to be a sort of a sense of rural areas, and I think this exists in Asian societies as well as Western societies as places of